Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to Double9Radio. How are you today? How you doing?
Oh, I'm good.
You're good. You know, I was taken away as well, but the music actually took me away. It's been hot in the studio. Apparently the heater's still on, but it just became a bit more hot because the tracks and the vibes I was playing out there were just making me quite warm. But you know, it's all good. And I hope my listeners enjoy that session as well. I'll be bringing it back, hopefully sometime during the show or even after the show as well. Hello, our sexologist. How are you today?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I am good. I am so glad to have you back on the show. I must tell you, I've had such a lot of inquiries to say, when is she coming back? I said, you know, I'm going to try and bring her back. You know, so when's she coming back? We want her back. I said, you know, it's the new year.
I'm back, people.
She is back. You know, I'm glad she's back.
I'm back.
Fantastic. And she's hopefully here to stay as well. You never know. But, you know, I'm so glad you could join us this evening. And I hope, you know, you had a great start to the year as well.
I did. Happy New Year to everyone listening.
Yes, Happy New Year. And welcome to the first uncensored version on the Candid Expression Sunday. You know, the first one of 2021.
Amazing.
But I'm sure my listeners are wondering, her voice sounds familiar. Do we know her? Maybe you do. But without further ado, can you tell us, who do we have on the show today?
Okay, hi guys. My name is Cecilia. I am a certified relationship and marriage counselor. I'm also a certified sex educator, sex coach, and a clinical sexologist. So there you have it. Everything marriage, intimacy, sex, and your go-to.
Fantastic. You know, I just like to call her the Double9Radio sexologist, you know, because I think she's amazing and she knows what she's doing and what she's saying. You know, so if you're having some issue somewhere, you know, intimacy, this is the person to go to and this is the show to be on. So, Cecilia, what are we talking about today?
So we're talking about flirting with your spouse.
We're talking about flirting with
I'm excited.
Okay.
Yes, I'm excited about this one.
I am excited. You know what? Today, I think I'm going to let you do a lot of the talking today because I need to learn this word flirting. Sometimes it seems to be an alien word in today's relationships. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out a bit more. But before we actually get into what flirting is, you know, so we're talking about flirting with your spouse.
Yes.
Okay, your spouse could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, could be your wife, your husband.
Well, for me, your spouse should be your husband or your wife.
Okay.
So I'm a relationship and marriage counselor, but I'm also very faith-based. So that means that I'm not encouraging premarital sex. So if you are unmarried, you're listening, you should only learn for when you're married. So you're just preparing for that time. Okay. So I need all the married people in the house tonight.
Okay.
No offense to the single guys or those that are sexually active, but I hope you understand and you understand where I'm coming from.
Yes, we do. I mean, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it there as well. You know, she said she's only talking to the married couples, but you know, you can still learn and get ready when you finally have that fantastic guy or girl as your partner. Being married. Okay, fantastic. Okay, what is flirting? You know, our fantastic Cecilia today. What is flirting? Because I always hear this word, flirting this, flirting that. What is that? Okay,
so flirting is when you behave like you're sexually attractive to your spouse in a playful way, in a playful manner. It doesn't have to be serious and it doesn't have to be extremely planned out, you know. You can flirt in several different ways. It can be spoken, it can be written, it can be through your body language, to your facial expressions. Flirting is all about just behaving in a sexually, in a sexual manner towards your spouse.
Okay, just behaving in a sexual manner towards your spouse.
Yeah.
I think I understand now why you said you wanted to direct it, towards just the married couples because you're faith-based. I mean, okay, I understand that now. Okay, so flirting is what you describe as that. Okay, so flirting is it like it should be a part of a relationship at every time, or does it just happen during the honeymoon phase, or is it just like something you always prescribe to be continuous within a relationship? Because it's easier at the honeymoon phase, I think.
Yes. So flirting is something we all do. Well, not everybody does, because different people have different orientation when they were growing up. But flirting usually is something that married couples do in the early years of their marriage, or when they're on the honeymoon, or even before they got married. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, as they start to settle into knowing each other, they become comfortable with each other. Life begins to happen. Children come into the picture, they get busier with work or the businesses, and flirting seems to take the back burner, just like intimacy and sex usually takes back burner for a lot of people. But I usually suggest and recommend to couples when they come to me or when I teach that you should try and be intentional with your marriage. And so flirting should be a part and parcel of your daily life. And it doesn't have to be anything serious. So some people would wonder, daily life, how is that even possible? We're busy trying to make ends meet. We're trying to, make sure we have enough for the family, take care of the family. And so flirting shouldn't be part of it. But, as we go along in the show, you will understand that you can actually flirt every day with your spouse. It just takes planning, and it takes being intentional. It takes putting your marriage first.
Fantastic.
Not
Fantastic.
Money or anybody first. Yeah, so flirting could be something you do regularly. I mean, even if it's not every day, at least once a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to come that that point you made. In some parts of the world, as you know, there is some lockdown happening, where you can't really go anywhere. The only place you can go is just buy food and come back home. On the first on the first Candid Expression Sunday, which was last week, which touched on a topic, referring to reigniting the passion within a relationship, because you tend to just see each other every day. You're not doing nothing really. So we thought, okay, it would be best to just have a show to kind of touch on what is happening currently around the world, and also how couples can reignite the passion and not get bored of each other. Because normally you would go, people would go out on a Saturday, perhaps even on a Sunday, but now you're all cooked up. So, from your perspective, would you say flirting should be part of reigniting that passion within relationships?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and especially when we get into how to flirt, then you will understand exactly how you can flirt, even if you're locked down with this person for 2 years and even for 5 years. Wow. Because yes, when you stay together, especially during this lockdown for months, because some people have actually been locked down for a year now.
Yes.
You begin to get really bored of each other, but you can use different strategies and tips to flirt with your spouse. You can decide, stay in your room today. I want to stay in my room. If that's the way, you get out of each other's hair every once in a while, because it's very normal to get offended by your spouse. It's very normal to get irritated by them. But when you're intentional about something, so imagine if you're locked down and say, this is a lockdown for 5 years. At the end of 5 years, you would win $1 million or 2 million or 10 million pounds. Do you know what's going to happen? Whatever task they're given, they're going to do it because there's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
So there has to be an incentive. There has to be something you're both looking forward to. You have to discuss it. You need to know exactly why you're in this marriage to begin with. So when it's something that you both can actually achieve. You can rekindle the spark in your marriage using flirting as a tool. So yes.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, I like how you explain that. So now let's get into how to flirt, because it's one thing to understand what the word flirting is, and the other thing is how to flirt. Because some people, you think, okay, winking eyes is flirting, or just maybe singing to your spouse is flirting, or maybe even just dancing and shaking your bum bum is flirting. I don't know. Let's hear from the sexologist, the expert on this one. How do you start to flirt? How do you flirt with your partner?
Okay. I'm just laughing because you said dancing with your bum bum, which is actually Yes, this is actually a way to flirt. Actually, it's a way to flirt with your spouse, no doubt. But there are different ways to flirt with your spouse. Several ways. But before I get into it, let me just quickly put out there that there are different components to a successful flirtation or flirting moment with your spouse. There are different components. One, the timing has to be right.
Okay.
Yes, the timing has to be right. You don't want to be flirting when someone is feeling down, when someone is not in the mood, maybe when someone is currently going through pain, because you can't even rule out the fact that in this season, a lot of people have lost loved ones.
Yeah.
A lot of people have lost colleagues and all of that. And yes, you can actually flirt to try and cheer someone on, but you have to be sensitive to the timing. When you're trying it and it's not working, then you need to let it go. Okay? So you don't try to force it or force it down anybody's throat. So timing is very, very important. Another thing is confidence when you're flirting. You have to have a level of confidence, especially for women, because we tend to worry about how we look, our bodies, our insecurities, if you know what I mean, baby pouch, stretch marks, and you don't want to feel like what you're doing doesn't make sense or like your spouse is laughing at you. So usually when I teach the women in my group, I normally say to them, when you're trying to do something naughty or sexy, or maybe you're trying to dance or twerk or whatever, and your spouse laughs at you, you don't take offense. You're supposed to actually focus and laugh with him, because especially if you haven't done this before and you're just trying something new, you're bound to look very funny doing it, right? You're bound to maybe not look as professional as maybe any other girl out there. But when you have confidence, when you know that, hey, the goal is to play, is to have fun, is to get my spouse to laugh as well, then you know that confidence is a key component. So even when they're laughing, rather than get offended, you're supposed to also laugh and turn it around. Because sometimes men laugh not because they're trying to belittle their wives, but it just feels funny, and everybody's allowed to laugh anyway.
Of course.
So don't be too serious about it. And the third component is for you to be playful. Be playful. It's not too serious, right? Here we'll say, not a big deal, nothing spoil. Take it easy,
Yeah, okay.
Smile, be playful about it, yes. And the fourth component is that you maintain eye contact in most cases.
I mean, that eye contact, I think we need to probably dive into that more, but I'll let you carry on the ways to flirt, because that eye contact, some people's eye contact can be quite scary. They look at you.
I know.
It's like, sorry, what are you looking at? Is that something on my head or something? You know what I mean? Why are you staring at me that way? You're actually scaring me.
I know, right?
Are you trying to look at me in a romantic manner? What is that? Why are you looking at me like you've seen a horror movie? So, I think maybe... So
again, that's where confidence also comes into play. So, if you're looking for something you haven't done before and you're trying to do it, see, there will be all manner of reactions and feelings, and people are allowed to actually react the way they want. Like, I don't believe in asking people to act in a certain kind of way. We're all different for a reason, right? So, it takes practice as well. So another component is consistency. It takes practice. So you don't do it once and then you feel like, it didn't work. Everything just falls apart and that's it. You never try again. Yeah. So that's the fourth component. Is that the fourth or the fifth?
The fifth component.
The fifth, yeah. So you have to be consistent, with trying out and, just keep trying. And then there is the, what's the last one now in my head? Be creative about it.
Creative.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Creativity is key. So if you try something today, it doesn't work, find another way to try it. Be creative, Don't just be stuck up on one thing. Try it different ways. And then as you're trying it, you're looking at your spouse, you're getting feedback from their expressions, and that really will help you with how creative you should get. Okay, so we've gotten all the components out of the way. The question now is, how do you flirt, right? Okay, so the easiest way, especially for those who are very reserved, very shy, very naive, the easiest way to flirt is to send a message. So you're hiding behind your phone or behind your tablet or your iPad.
Yeah.
You send a message, whether it's a text message, an email, or WhatsApp message, a DM on any of your social media platforms. You're basically hiding behind your gadget and you're sending a message. And it's even better when you're sending a message and you're both in the same house. So it's not like someone is away at work and you're trying to flirt with them, exactly. Right? Yeah, so that also just really helps. Because your spouse is wondering, why is he sending me this message? He's just next door. He could actually just say it. And then you're smiling while you're reading out the message. So it's important to learn to send messages, especially naughty, sexy messages, dirty messages to your spouse. You can also start by just complimenting them in the message. So messaging is number one. Very, very important, very potent, very effective.
Very effective.
Yes,
there.
And it works. Yes, very effective, and it works for everyone. This is one that actually works for, almost everyone. It has a higher rate of success, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's quickly move on to another one, smiling. Smiling is such an effective way of flirting. So imagine you and your husband or you and your wife are just having a conversation, or, someone is busy doing something and then they turn to look at you and you're smiling at them. I'm not saying laughing, so your teeth is not out. You're smiling,
you're not garnishing those gnashes. All the you just smile. Not trying to scare them away. But okay, yes, okay.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so smiling a bit more is a way of flirting with your spouse. So you need to be creative with every point or tip that I give to you.
Yeah. You
have to now find a way to be creative with them. So you don't want to be trying to seduce or initiate anything and then frowning. That's scary. Like, try and imagine that. That's really scary.
Exactly. Frowning and trying to initiate something.
And you're frowning.
It's a horror movie.
Yes. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work. So smiling is another way. And of course, talking dirty. So talking is another key component. So when you're not messaging, you want to talk. If you're the very bold type like myself, you want to flirt and just tell him or tell her what you're thinking, how you're feeling, what you want him or her to do to you. Yeah, sharing your thoughts, or reminiscing on the most recent exciting sexual experience you both have had. Those are ways to flirt. So you can talk dirty, you can remember a sexual experience, you can just basically talk about what you want, how you want it, or what you want to do to your spouse, how you want to do it, how you want them to respond. That's another thing. So you want them to, I'm going to suck you until you bite your lip or something like that, So being very vocal is another way to flirt.
Okay.
Are we getting somewhere?
Yes, we are. I mean,
and I hope the comments are coming in. Yes. I hope the comments are coming in.
I have one comment already from one of our listeners. Again, the phone lines are open. I'll just say the number again out there. It's +44 74 956 36899. That's if you're calling from out of the UK. You need to send us a message outside of the UK. Just have to put +44 74 956 36899. You can call in live into the studio on that number, and you can call in via WhatsApp or send us a WhatsApp message as well. So the first message I've had here, you don't have to put your name, it's fine. So I've had a quick one. It says, what happens if you want to introduce kinky sex with your partner? How do you encourage that as your spouse? But I want to say, is that part of, is the ultimate, should I say, destination or purpose of flirting? Is it you have, that sexual encounter?
Well, it's not the key reason for flirting. Okay, so flirting is not sex or intercourse is not the destination for flirting. You can actually flirt to just have a good time, to just smile, to just help bring someone out of a stressful day or stressful period. But yeah, if you also want to include kinky into your sexual life with your spouse, you can also flirt with it, and that's where talking comes into play. So you want to tell the person what you want to do to them. So that's you bringing kinky into it, okay? But one thing people should also have at the back of their mind when you're flirting is, while you're talking or sharing or, trying to do what you're doing, understand that people can feel differently, okay? So if you're bringing kinky, for instance, and your spouse is not into kinky, the good thing is that you're talking, you're having a conversation, right? So it moves from now flirting to actually having a proper communication about what the both of you need. You want to ask questions. So you don't shut down because the person says no or the person is not in the mood at the time. It's not a reason for you.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just had a comment now says that, my husband is old school. How can I convert him?
Okay, so another thing is you need to understand that what works for A may not work for B. We're all different for a reason. God created us all differently with different gifts, different purpose, different visions, and all of that. So if your husband or your wife is very traditional, you can't just start talking about stuff. You have to start in a subtle manner. You want to start with maybe sending a message. You want to start by complimenting him, telling him how good he made you feel the previous day or on a particular day. So you're gradually influencing him. You don't want to come up strong or come to him too strong, because a traditional man believes is in charge. He believes is what he wants that should take place. He believes that sex should be just on the bed, just missionary style or whatever it is. So you have to gradually, get into being able to flirt with him. Yeah. So if you're the one who is not adventurous in the relationship, you have to gradually let them ease into it. So start by complimenting him. Start by, by the time you guys are done having sex, you want to say, oh my God, you were amazing. So you're giving him feedback. You're feeding his ego. And every man wants to be celebrated. Every man wants to be honored. And every man wants to hear their wife say, you did amazing. And so in a few days' time, and so in a few days' time, when you're sending him message, you want to say something like, 2 nights ago was amazing. I haven't forgotten about it. You want to gradually choose your words. You're massaging his ego. And again, like I said from the beginning, I'm faith-based. I'm a Christian. There's a place of prayer in everything. So you can get everything you want in life if you work at it, if you have faith, and if you also ask God to help you. Okay, so if you have a traditional wife or husband, you don't expect them to change overnight. Exactly. It's going to take some time. Right. It's going to take some skill from you, and it's going to take a lot of patience.
Fantastic. I'm having the comments are coming like, fast and quick. But I want to quickly agree with you when you mentioned about, saying, appreciating your husband or your wife. That was actually mentioned, when we had that show that reignited the passion, showing that, that awareness of saying, wow, I recognize, that what we had, the sex was amazing, actually helps with reigniting the passion. Okay, let me quickly read out the question. So one of our listeners says, what if you just want to flirt and no sex, but your partner thinks you want sex? How do you handle that?
So again, everybody's different, right? So you flirt, and if you don't want to have sex, because again, people would definitely read different meanings to flirting. So you want to gradually just say to him or to say to her, not yet. You want to prime them. You want to talk to them. You want to let them know this is how you're feeling. It doesn't have to lead to sex, okay? But there's a thin line between saying that and throwing the person off completely. So you want to let him know, how about tomorrow I give you the sex of your life, or let her know. How about tomorrow I give you a good time, I plan it all out, I give you an erotic massage. So he or she has something to look forward to. Do you understand?
Yeah. Okay.
So you have, like I said, you have to be careful not to send mixed signals to your spouse. You have to be careful.
Right. Okay. I have a question from a guy now who says, I try and flirt with my wife, but she seems uninterested.
I what?
I try and flirt with my wife, but she seems uninterested. I'm guessing it's a man.
So what exactly? There's so many reasons why she might not be interested. So many reasons, and unfortunately, I can't give you those reasons. It's not in my place because I don't know what your dynamics are, right? So if there's a problem in the marriage, if there are there are issues that haven't been sorted, of course she's not going to be interested in sex. But if you know that you don't have any issues at all, you don't have any problems at all, you want to find out, you want to ask questions, you want to talk to her, you want to give her permission. Because again, this thing can just be programming, wrong programming, how she was raised. If she was raised to see sex as an obligation to her husband, then that's what she's going to see sex as. She's not going to wake up one morning and just be sexual towards you. So that will take a lot of talking to, a lot of patience, and most importantly, if you guys need to see a sex therapist, a sex coach, that will help a lot. Because I see a lot of women who are in this phase, and when they come to therapy, then you begin to unlock certain reasons why they are the way they are. A lot of women were sexually abused, and that has adverse effects on their sexual life, their sexual orientation, and you don't expect that to just fly out of the window because you think you're doing an amazing job, right? So it could be, like I said, it could be a variety of reasons why she doesn't like it.
Why she doesn't like. Okay, I got another question. Saying, is foreplay the same as flirting?
Yes, you could say that. But again, what do you understand by foreplay? So people think that foreplay is when you're in bed, you're having oral sex, you're kissing, you're necking, you're touching. That's what foreplay is. Not true. So foreplay starts even before you get into the bedroom. Foreplay starts when, you're both apart. You're probably at work and someone is at home or what have you. So foreplay, you could actually say foreplay is flirting. Because then you're talking to the person, what is foreplay? How are you doing today, honey? I miss you. You're the love of my life. You're this. You're complimenting each other, right? So it's a form of foreplay. Flirting is actually a form of foreplay, okay? So don't think that foreplay is just when you're in the room, you now start touching each other. No, foreplay starts way before you even get into bed with each other.
Okay, so foreplay can be seen as a form of flirting as well. Okay, so now...
No, I think that flirting is a form.
Is a form.
Of foreplay. Yes, it's a form. Flirting
is a form of foreplay.
The other way around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now we've talked about, what flirting is. You define what flirting is, and, which can be used or be part of the process of reigniting a passion in a relationship as well. And you also talked about the importance of some certain factors that have to be taken into consideration. Things like timing, you being confident, being playful, eye contact, consistency, and being creative. Now, I really want to go back to that eye contact, because that eye contact, sometimes a lot of people get it wrong. The eye contact, because if you're staring at someone, doesn't mean you're trying to, you're flirting with them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're staring dead in their eyes.
Yeah.
And you're not, do you know what I mean? The eye contact is very important, isn't it?
It is very important. And that's actually my next point, my next how to flirt.
Okay. So
my number 4 is, eye contact. So you want to be smiling at your spouse and looking at them. So, if you think you're flirting and maybe he or she raises their head and they see you smiling, but you're not looking at them, that's weird. They think you're smiling at something, especially if you're with your phone. So what is making her smile? Why is he smiling? Who is she talking to or chatting with? But the difference is that while you're smiling and they look at you and they see you smiling at them and looking at them, lovingly, like you're admiring them, you're flirting, right? Again, you could also be looking at someone who has upset you. You're not smiling. That's not flirting. So you're looking at someone, you're angry, you're upset. Maybe your eyes are studying the person, I wish I can kill you. That's not flirting. So you see, flirting, the facial expression thing is a huge turn on. And you want to also, I mean, if you're married to someone who has like a scary eye sight or the way that they look at you, I'm sure after a while you get used to them. I mean, you dated before you got married anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think that if somebody wanted to flirt with you and they're smiling and they're looking at you, you're going to find that funny. No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
So, eye contact is very, very important in a loving and subtle way, okay? You don't want to be in your head, there's fire in your head, your mind, you're all over the place, and then you're looking at the person and you think you're flirting. Nah, not going to work.
Okay, fantastic. So the eye contact is very important.
So
you have to kind of have a way you look at them, not frowning at them like you're trying to beat them up or something.
Not frowning, not frowning, not wishing them to drop dead.
Okay.
No, you can't even hide it. You can't hide when you're upset with someone and you're trying to smile. Your eyes your eyes is like a mirror into your soul.
Okay.
You need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just had this flashback, or not flashback, a vision of some, I think something I saw on social media where the theme was, it was something about flirting, but the guy, I think it was a comedy skit or something. He was trying to flirt with a lady, but, in his mind, he's thinking, oh my God, I'm going to eat you. But the way he was looking at her, like he's looking at her like food, was quite funny. Like, but should I be like, thinking to your mind, I want to eat this woman? And because that facial expression would be different, wasn't it?
It should be different. Like I said, your eyes is like the mirror into your soul. So if you're looking at her like she's food, or you're looking at him like he's food, it will affect your expression. So your eye contact is what reveals what's truly in your heart. Right?
Yeah.
Again, you mentioned that it was a comedy skit, so of course it was meant to look that way for a reason.
I know, but people do learn from these things. Okay, so what should you not do when flirting?
You shouldn't. So there's still a lot to go. How to? We still have a lot of how to.
Okay, let's get more into how to. Before we get to what you should not do. Maybe we'll take that on the second
what you shouldn't do.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about how you should flirt. Because you talk about messaging, we talk about smiling, you talk about sharing your thoughts as well. Okay, so tell us more.
So mirroring, I don't know if you know what mirroring is. Yes, mirroring simply means keeping what someone is doing. So imagine you were on your table, you were having dinner or lunch, and you do exactly what your spouse is doing. So when they pick up the glass to drink water, you pick up yours to do the same. They put protein in their mouth, you do the same. They scratch their face, you do the same. The person is smiling like, okay, what are you doing? Why are you doing everything I'm doing? So that sparks a lot of, smile, conversation, and, that's a way to also flirt. You can also flirt just by just being, by taking your spouse out, by role-playing, by letting them catch you doing something naughty. Right. So there's so many other ways you want to try and distract them.
Yeah, sorry. I just had a comment. Is that they should play, dance, and listen to Cardi B, WAP. I'm not even going to say that live on air. The what music?
Yes, dancing is a part of it. Twerking is a part of is a part of how to flirt. Right. Dancing naked, have a naked fashion show at home, have a lingerie fashion show at home. Yes, those are ways. Send erotic photos, erotic posts. So imagine you were just going through the streets of Instagram, yeah?
Yeah.
And you see something very, very erotic. Rather than just look alone, why not share it with your spouse? You're flirting. You're telling them you really want this. And sometimes you can share it with a personal message. So, one thing that I do a lot is just sharing those things with my husband. I remember one post that I shared with him. There's this couple that are always very erotic with each other on Instagram.
Okay.
And there was this particular one where the man was massaging the wife's inner thighs, which was very erotic, by the way. And she was having a glass of wine and smoking a cigar, which is very sexy, if you ask me. And so I shared it with my husband, and I said, I want this tonight. And that's me just telling him what I want. That was me just flirting with him, you know. And it was just a massage, and the cool music, the dim lights, the candle lights, and we just had an amazing time. And honestly, sometimes it doesn't end in sex. Sometimes we just do this and we're very, very relaxed and we're very happy and we cuddle and we sleep. Sometimes it leads to discussions and we talk about stuff and we just really feel good about it. So it doesn't always have to end up, you know, in sex. Yeah. You can also plan an erotic date night. You can suggest different things that you're being flirtatious towards your spouse. You know, you want to plan that tomorrow, I don't know you, you don't know me. We're going to meet at a bar at so time. You know, nice to meet you. My name is Dave. So you're role playing.
You're role playing, yeah.
You know, so all of these things, yes, you can role play. You know, you can plan an erotic massage. You can plan to go to the spa and have an erotic time together. You can surprise your spouse at work as well. So imagine just sending them something at work with a really, really lovely note. Or you go have lunch and you're the lunch. You bring the lunch to your spouse at work. Shut the door and have like an amazing stolen moment in the office.
Amazing.
Right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's so many of them. You can have a playlist and a love song, romantic playlist, and you know, just sing and dance. Really, really erotic.
Fantastic.
So much more.
Let's have a quick break
okay.
and we'll be back on the other side to find out more from our sexologist tonight about flirting with your spouse in the house and where you can smoosh and enjoy, but it doesn't have to lead to sex. But you want to find out more on how and what you should not do and what other things can be involved when you're flirting with your spouse. Stay locked on, stay locked in. It's the uncensored version of Candid Expression Sunday with your host Double9, our sexologist tonight, Cecilia, Bedroommatterss. You don't want to miss the other side. Stay locked on, stay locked in. Welcome back to Double9Radio. It's 2137 1701 2021. We have the amazing sexologist Cecilia of Bedroommatterss. Mate, I'm having such a good time. I'm learning quite a lot as well. I hope you are as well. Today we're talking about how to flirt with your spouse. I mean, we defined what flirting was as well. And again, flirting can be different to everyone. But most importantly, we talked about factors you should consider before you start flirting. You know, ensure the timing is right. Have the confidence to flirt. Be playful about it. You don't want to be so mean about, you know, flirting. That's something else. You know, have eye contact. And again, we actually talked about that eye contact. It's very important as well. But as well, you have to be careful with that. You don't want to be screwing your face and trying to flirt. That's not flirting anymore, is it? You know, consistency is very good as well. You know, if you're not getting them right the first time, you want to try again. And also be creative about it. And Cecilia also talked about ways of flirting. What ways? What kind of things should you do? She talked about messaging, you know, smiling, sharing your thoughts, sharing those erotic thoughts about, you know, what you're trying to do to that person or how you're trying to, you know, munch the munchies of that individual, you know. And talk about mirroring as well, and also role play is one of the things that she talked about. Cecilia, welcome back to the show. I'll be having a good time as well. I'm learning quite a lot.
I'm learning a lot as well, because as you share, you get more ideas. And it's such a joy to be here, honestly. Now I'm thinking, are you sure we want to be doing this once a month? Because it's actually really fun.
Okay.
But yes,
maybe we can get you back more, because I'm having some funny and wonderful comments coming in. I love you, my listeners. All these messages coming in this evening as well. Okay, first of all,
let's hear some of the comments, if you don't mind.
First one is that can food be used as a flirting tool?
Can what?
Food.
Oh yes, absolutely. You know, you can. You have your cake, you have your fruit, you have your ice cream. Yes, food can be used as a tool to flirt. That's amazing, though. Well done.
Well done to that person. You know, so look at our sexologist is giving you a thumbs up there. That yes, food can be used, but not amala, not eba. You know.
No, not peppered amala. You don't want to send someone to the ER.
You know, strong things. I know there's this trend about pounded yam going around at present. Where everybody's trying pounded yam for the first time. So we're not saying use pounded yam as a flirting tool. To start stoning your spouse with our sexologist on Double9Radio said yes, we should use pounded yam to flirt. No, we're not talking about them ones. But what kind of food can you use to flirt?
So you can use a lot of different stuff. You can use your toys to flirt. You can use your lingerie. You can use pretty much anything. That's why you have to be creative, okay? Anything you think is remotely fun or funny or sexy can be used, okay? So get creative, people.
Okay, no, let's talk about what kind of food would you suggest?
Oh, what kind of food?
Yeah.
Let's see. Apart from the ones I just mentioned, pretty much anything that is not that's not spicy, that is not hot. You don't want to burn someone, right? So we have different kinds of food. Your people over there in the UK, in the US, and Nigeria. There's so many different things you can use. You can use, say, your pizza. Anything. The funny thing with flirting is, even if you're doing amala, let's even think about it, right? Can you feed your spouse with amala? Like feed with your hands or with your mouth? You want to share stuff mouth to mouth. That's actually, come to think of it, you can actually do that.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
I don't know. You're the expert. The expert says you can use
but it's not just about you can, again, be creative. It depends. It's an individual thing, really. It's an individual thing. When I said spicy stuff, as long as you're not eating it off each other's body, I think you can use pretty much any food. Yeah, as long as you're not eating it off each other's body. So if you want to do food that you can eat off each other's body, then you want to be careful not to use anything too spicy or too hot, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because if that thing drops in there, it can cause some so funny,
some damage. Someone will be rushed to the hospital, and you don't want that.
Extinguisher to extinguish the flames. That could be happening. Okay.
Yeah.
There's another comment here. I don't know. She says, "I can't cope with this endless flirting. What do I do?"
You tell him. You find a way to tell him. If you think when you say you can't cope with his endless flirting, are they flirting towards you or towards other women? So that's another thing you need to find out. So if it's flirting with other women, first of all, you shouldn't be doing that. That's a no-no, right? But if you're talking about flirting with you, you want to tell him how often, or you don't want it at all. That's a conversation that both of them have to have. Again, you also want to ask yourself, why don't you like flirting? You learn to compromise every once in a while in your relationship. It doesn't have to be what you want all of the time, right? So that's where conversation or communication plays a major role. Okay? Okay, honey?
Okay, I hope you heard that as well. Okay, I have another one. She says, I also think you should ask your partner what the sexual fantasy is and see if you can actualize it. Is that part of flirting as well?
I wouldn't say that that's flirting. That's you communicating. That's you, trying to know each other better, get to know your sexual preference, your fantasies, and all of that, right? Now, it's the act of doing it that becomes flirting. So when you're just having the conversation, that's not flirting. When you're trying to find out what works, that's not flirting. Now, when you're trying to put into use the information you've already gathered from that conversation, then you can say you're flirting based on the information that you have. Does that make sense?
Yes. So because you've acted like you've done a bit of homework, then you know when the action is about to happen, you know the reaction to apply to the action. Oh my God, look at my rhyme.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, organized rhyming this evening. Okay, I think I'll read one more before you tell us more about how there's another comment that says every time we flirt he wants sex, but I don't want it all the time. What do I do?
Again, you have to talk about it, because flirting doesn't always have to lead to sex. And that's the truth. It doesn't always have to lead to sex. And, communication is what the both need. And again, you have to find the best time and the best way to communicate that. You don't want him to get the feeling that you don't like sex, or you don't like when he flirts with you. So you have to be very, very concise with what you're saying. You have to be very deliberate and intentional on how to pick the words and choose the words that you use. You don't want to say, I don't like you because you flirt too much, or you do this too often. That he's gonna read, into it. He's gonna read and maybe think that you don't even want it at all. But if you say, oh, you probably do it 3 times in the week or 4 times in the week, do you want to reduce it to like once or twice? You see, there are 2 different things that I've just said here. So you don't want to just generally say stuff. You want to also give him permission to do it, just not as often as he, would normally like to do it. And again, you might want to also give him your reasons why.
Yeah.
That's something we don't do in marriages, We've gotten so comfortable with each other. We just feel like he should understand or she should understand. No, you're still dealing with a human being that has feelings. So you also want to tell them why you don't want it as often, or why you don't want it at all. And also give them an opportunity to either accept or to counter it or to give you their own reason. That's when communication has actually taken place. So you speak, you listen, you wait, you let them share their opinion. You go back and forth until you guys arrive at a more agreeable understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, should we get tell us a bit more about how? Because now you talked about messaging, smiling, share thoughts, mirroring, and plan erotic dates, or doing a role play. But someone actually just sent a question. Not even a question. This is another statement, or maybe a question. Say, he says, I work away sometimes. Would you advise video calling, flirting, a good thing to do?
I didn't get that. Walk away from what?
No, work away. That means possibly work away from home. Works away maybe in another town. Most of the time. Maybe.
Oh, okay. The person works away from home. The person doesn't work at home. Okay.
Yeah, and he's asking.
Okay. What?
He's saying that would you advise video calling, flirting, a good way to flirt with your wife?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You can. So another thing you can do is to video call and do what I call flash. So you either flash a body part, maybe your boobs, or you flash your abs, or you flash your penis. You can do all of that. You can call to just arouse your spouse and hang up, right? You can send pictures. Now, when you're sending pictures, I do have a caveat, okay, or a disclaimer. Make sure you're not showing your face. Or when you show your face, you delete immediately so that it doesn't save to the cloud. If anything happens to your phone, you don't want people seeing your business all over the place, right?
Yeah.
So you can send a message, you can call, you can do video calls, you can send suggestive pictures. You want to share maybe a picture of your underwear. So imagine if you're at work and you pull down your boxers, for instance, and you take a picture of it and you send to your wife. She's going to be wondering, okay. He pulled out his boxes and sent a photo to me, or you take off your bra, you take a picture, or a lingerie, and you take a picture and you send to your husband. So it's actually he's on course. He's doing it right. If you're doing that already.
Okay. So I was going to ask as well. Should toys, there's this increase in the sex toys as well at present. All over. Different parts of the world, people are actually talking about sex toys. About is it good to be part of, relationships and things like that? But should it be part of, the flirting, actions as well or process? The truth is there are different kinds of toys, right? And nothing is ever good 100%. So you also want to be careful what kind of toys you're buying.
What's the aim? What's the reason behind getting those toys? So toys could just be to add flavor, to add, some spice, to add some fun into the marriage. It could also be to aid each other. So if you're in a relationship where one person has like a failing health or has a health challenge or has like erectile dysfunction and can't really keep an erection for long, or she has like painful penetration and you guys or she's taking medication or treatment, you can use toys with each other because you don't want the excitement and the spark in your marriage to go down because somebody is not able to live up to expectation. Again, people can have conversations and wait for each other until they get better. So it's an individual thing. As long as, one person is not using that toy alone without the consent of the other person, then you guys are good to go, honestly. And I know that this is a very controversial statement. I know,
I just had a comment
some people are going to come for me.
People are listening to you.
Yeah.
They said, I just had a quick comment that said, is toys a Christian thing to use?
So I know that my Christian folks are going to come for me, but let me share a personal story to you. So I went to visit someone who had put to bed, and she had her baby through cesarean section. Yeah. And another person I think somebody was there and they were having a conversation and they asked her, how did she have the baby? Was she a Hebrew woman? That sort of discussion. And said, no, she couldn't push, that labor took too long, they induced her, the baby wasn't coming, and so they had to cut her open to bring out the baby and to save the baby's life and hers as well. And the person goes, no, you should have waited. You didn't have faith in God. You didn't trust God enough.
Blimey.
And unfortunately, I don't know how to keep things in, right? Especially things like this, because she was telling this young mother, and the young mother was just feeling bad and she was quiet. And I had to step in. I had to say, you know what? People are different. If you want to stay longer and maybe risk your life and risk the baby's life, that's on you. But if somebody thinks that they want to have a CS to bring out their child, there's nothing unchristian about it. And the truth is, there are some Christian faiths that don't believe a woman should have a cesarean section. You're not a Hebrew woman, is what people say. Now, that's one thing, right? When it comes to like the sex part, when people have erectile dysfunction, for instance, or multiple sclerosis, right? Yeah. So multiple sclerosis now means that for some women, they're not able to have sensation around their genitals. Yeah. So sometimes they have to go to the hospital. How that is cured is sometimes they have to go to the hospital and the doctor has to use some sort of vibration to kind of bring sensation back to that area. Now, some people decided, you know what, let's just create like a little vibrators. Rather than go to the hospital just to get vibration around there, vibration means sending, circulating blood to your genitals, because that's what gives you the sensation that you feel. Why don't you use a vibrator, for instance, to do this at home rather than go to the hospital maybe once or twice a week to get that done for you? So if a toy can be accepted to cure and bring blood circulation to your genital, why can't you also use it for, sexual purposes? Why can't you also use it for pleasure? Why can't the both of you use it for? It's like saying a woman has to do Kegel exercise with Kegel balls, and some of those Kegel balls, when you use it right, can actually help the woman orgasm. And you say, oh, no, you can use it just for the exercise, but you can't use it for pleasure. For me, it's double standard, right? And so, again, I don't teach anything and say you have to swallow it verbatim. It's not 100% correct for everyone. So choose what works for you. Now, to the Christian folks that are actually listening to me, my advice to you is, rather than take what Cecilia, the sexologist, is saying, or take what your pastor or your woman of God is teaching you, why don't you take this particular issue, this challenge and struggle you're having in your spirit, and take it to God in prayer? That's the only person that is right in all, through and through. So if you're having challenges in your spirit, pray about it. There's nothing you can't pray about. Lord, can I use sex with my husband or with my wife? Is it healthy? Is it good? What does your word say about it? And you'll be shocked. You'll get a revelation. And the truth is, if your spirit man is at peace with not using it, then don't use it. It's not compulsory for you to use a sex toy. It's not at all. But whether there's a sin or it's a sin or not a sin, that's between you and your God. It's not between you or what your man of God says, or between you or what Cecilia says. Yeah. Okay? I hope I've been able to clear some doubts there.
You have it.
Whoever is listening.
Let's get back into today's topic as well. I mean, as you mentioned that sex toys, it's it works for some people, it doesn't work for others. What works for you was, your choice. You have a choice to make. Okay, so, when we're talking about the how of flirting, again, we've talked about quite a number of things this evening as well. Time is fast going. I'm having such a great time on the show, and I can't believe time is almost gone. So we've talked about messages.
I just looked at, we have like 5 minutes to go. So what do you want? Do you want us to have a part 2 of the same topic, or what do you want us to do? Because I have less than 5 minutes to actually go. What do you think?
We could do a recap or part 2. Yes, why not? Why not? I mean, the special. We can have a special where we talk about this and maybe something else to control everything together. Okay, but I want to quickly touch on the things you've talked about. So we talked about messaging, smiling, sharing your thoughts, mirroring, and also doing a bit of role play. But what are the advantages of actually flirting in a relationship?
Okay, so flirting actually helps you build bond between you and your spouse, between a husband and a wife. Okay, it brings them closer together. Now, it also helps the both of you feel needed and desired. So imagine where you're just constantly commenting or complimenting your spouse, complimenting their body parts, especially when you're doing that to a woman who basically feels insecure about her stretch marks or her tummy or her falling breast. It makes her feel desired. It helps the both of you bond even more. It helps to create positive energy, positive, loving energy between couples, okay?
Yeah.
It also helps to reduce the stress level. Because what happens is when you're flirting with someone, you're flirting with your spouse, no matter what's going on with them, you're trying to make them smile. You're trying to make them forget, even if it's momentarily, what they're going through or how they're feeling. So flirting helps to reduce stress levels, okay? It helps to also build confidence in you and in your spouse, okay?
Yeah.
It helps you, your marriage to stay alive, to stay fresh, to stay fun. It helps sex become more pleasurable, because when you're flirting, you're building tension. You're building tension. Exactly. So your body is waiting, is accepting, it's open, especially for a woman, and sex becomes more pleasurable, right? It keeps the both of you healthier. I know when I mentioned this in one of my trainings, somebody said, how can flirting keep the both of you healthier? It actually does. I think when the both of you are flirting, there's every tendency that it will lead to sex. And we all know that sex is stress reliever, it cures headache, it releases good and feel-good hormones into your body. It helps with estrogen, helps with oxytocin, dopamine, and all of that, right? So flirting helps both of you stay healthy. It keeps both of you happier. You're laughing a lot. You're happy with each other. You're playing, and that's the kind of the energy you want around your home. That's the energy you want around your spouse, okay?
Amazing.
It also reminds you about what you like about your spouse. Reminds you what you truly, truly enjoy about them, what you love about them, why you even asked her out in the first place, why you said yes to him when he proposed. Flirting helps you to reminisce, to go down memory lane. Because for some people, when you've lost it, you've lost it. And then when you start learning to flirt again, you just remind each other how it was in the early years of your marriage. Like I said, it helps make sex even more frequent. Because in most cases, it leads to sex.
Yes.
And then it helps to rekindle the spark in your marriage. It helps you to take a breather, leave everything and just be in a moment of, maybe gratitude. Because again, in your marriage, people get so comfortable to a point where they think you've won a battle or you've won something. But you need to understand that there was a time you prayed for that marriage. There was a time you prayed for your spouse. You prayed to to God and ask him to send you the right man or the right woman.
Yeah.
And then finally in this marriage, you've allowed stress, you've allowed pressure from different people and different areas of your life to now sort of overtake what really, really matters. And so when you flirt, you're in a place of gratitude, you have deep thinking period and moments. And, flirting just gives you an overall peace of mind, happiness, fun, makes you admire each other better. It makes you actually think of what you have and be grateful for those things. So flirting isn't just sexual. It has a lot more advantages and reasons for you to do them.
Amazing.
So yeah, there you have it.
Amazing. It's been such a wonderful show tonight. I've learned so much from our fantastic sexologist, Cecilia, on Bedroom Matters. I mean, you can find her live and direct on Instagram. That's Bedroom Matters on Instagram. Just search that and you can find her there. Or you can go onto our Instagram page and click on today's flyer and you should find our handle right on there as well. So what have we learned today about flirting? We've learned quite a lot from our fantastic sexologist, again, Cecilia, today, what flirting was. Flirting it gives you the ability to reduce the stress within your relationship, increases the desire, helps you build a better bond, and reminds you of that attraction you had or you still have for your partner as well. And when you do this flirting, you have to put some factors into place, things around it. You have to have the right timing, the confidence to ensure that you can put this flirting action into motion, and also be playful about it. And eye contact is very important. Remember, not a screw face, but eye contact in a very subtle way. And consistency is another thing she mentioned, and we have to be creative about the way you go about it as well. So how do you go about flirting? Our fantastic sexologist says, try messaging. Use your phone. Message, your phone is not just for calling and gossiping. I'm not saying other ladies gossip. I'm just saying, but it's not just for that. But you can send your husband, your partner, a message. Or smile. Smile to your partner when you see them in the morning, not a screw face. No way you're trying to say, where's my bone straight hair? I think that's the new thing out there. But you can share your thoughts. Share your thoughts on what you want to do to this gentleman, or what you want to do to this lovely lady of yours. And also mirroring, kind of like replicating the actions of your spouse, making them notice that this is what you're doing, and that you can then engage with them to make them know, yes, nookie might happen, or some engagement in the Royal Rumble ring could happen later in the evening. And also, she said, you can role play, a role play thing. You can go to a bar, or maybe just turn your living room into a bar or something, and she walks in, and this lady walks in, hello, how can I help you? Role play to make everything juicy and live and lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had such a great time on the show today. Cecilia, I can't wait to have you back on this show.
I can't wait to be back. I can't wait to be back.
I can't wait to be back.
I can't wait.
Most definitely. I'm sure we'll work out something and bring it back ASAP, because my listeners here, I can still have loads of questions coming in. Don't worry, I will save the questions for next time on the show. But before you go, Cecilia, what words do you want to leave with our lovely listeners this evening?
Be intentional with your marriage, okay? Be intentional, be grateful to God. Don't forget to compliment each other, okay? Even if you're playing the roles that you're supposed to play, always remember to compliment your spouse. And invest in your marriage. Buy books on marriages that will help you. Pay for courses for marriages that will help you. When you're setting goals, I'm sure a lot of people have set goals for 2021. Financial goals, business goals. Did you set goals for your marriage? That's a big one. That's what a lot of people don't do. And I started doing that last year. And I know the result that I got from doing that. And so I'm putting together a webinar on goal setting for married couples. If you want to be part of that, like he said, go to his page, click on the link. Yes, you should be. Follow me, send me a DM. You'll get information on that tomorrow. And maybe I should do a discount for anyone coming from you. So, let's see. Maybe we should do a 50% discount for anyone who's coming from your end.
Just
okay, all they need to do is just let me know that.
That's your discount code.
Yes, Double9Radio. So, you want to set those kind of goals, how often you want to have sex. You can set those goals. It doesn't mean you follow everything 100%. Of course, there will be exceptions, and there will be times where, you just have spontaneous sex or quickie. and all of that. You want to set goals around projects for your marriage. You want to set goals around vacation. You want to set goals around parenting, because all of these things would help your marriage to either be better or to be worse, right? So be intentional. Pay and attend marriage retreats, couples retreats, okay? And try and also invest in counselors. See, having a marriage counselor isn't something you should do when there's a problem. It's something you do to prevent a problem. So don't be someone who just wants to keep waiting to sort things out. Be the one who doesn't even allow things to go wrong, okay? So in a nutshell, those are my quick, off the top of my head advice for every couple out there. And both of you can make it. I know it's tough now with the lockdown, being in each other's spaces, but you need to listen to your spouse. You need to pay attention to their needs. If anybody needs time out, for the woman who is always with the kids, who's doing most of the house chores or what have you, if she needs a time out, as a man, as a king that you are, try and actually give her some time out. Maybe she wants to stay in the room, lock the door, and you're alone with the kids. Just give her some time to recoup, give her some time to refresh and, just get stronger so she can come out and still be her best. Because if she's not, she's going to get cranky, she's going to get irritable, she's going to unleash at you as well, and you guys will have issues, you have problems. And, if you are in a place like in Nigeria where some of us still go out, if she needs some time, maybe you want to pay for the weekend at a hotel, let her just go be by herself for a weekend, right? And so these are the tips that will help the both of you enjoy your marriage, enjoy your time with each other, and move you guys from where you are to, keep getting better, keep learning how to satisfy each other. And please do not deny each other of sex. This is a time where people are fasting. 30 days fast, 70 days fast, 40 days fast, right? Do not ignore the needs of your spouse. Do not ignore sex because you're fasting. You can't be doing 30 days dry fast. I'm sorry, I don't know what church you attend, but your Bible says that you should not deny each other sex unless there's an agreement. So if there's agreement to fast for 30 days and nobody's cheating, then that's fantastic. And it says it should be a period of time and both of you should come back together so that you will not be tempted by the devil or be tempted by a hot bloke or a fine woman, right, because of your lack of self-control. It is there in the Bible. So if somebody's telling you, if your husband doesn't want to fast, there's a demon in him, you fast for him, you pray for him, that person is lying to you. That person is helping you break. In fact, that person is teaching you, but then you're doing the breaking up of your marriage by yourself. You're doing that job perfectly well by yourself. So even in the midst of praying and waiting on the Lord and fasting, be sensitive to the needs of your spouse.
Amazing.
On that note, thank you for having me on the show. Always, I wish it didn't have to end.
As always, our one and only sexologist, Cecilia of Bedroom Matters. I want to say a big thank you for coming on the show today. It's been amazing. It's been great.
Thank
Had
you.
a great time. Can't wait to have you back on the show. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
And a great week.